occupies, once again, a lot of airspace, drifts really, really gently, and Belmont sort of tries to catch your next option all the time. So if Mr. E is able to drift in and approach, YoseFu is going to have a really difficult time pinning him down. If not, Mr. E can find himself losing a lot of stocks, especially at
Being able to find proper zone control with Belmont is rather hard against a character as swift and lethal as Lucina when it comes to zone breaking. But if we see the stage controlled well, there's going to be almost no safe landing space for Mr. E, and a lot of that aerial play is what makes the most of Lucina's ability to zone break.
But I think both just sort of getting a good feel for each other. Belmont, once again, a character that is really, really favored in a best of 5 because of conditioning and like decision fatigue as the game does go on. YoseFu finding that down angled forwarder, Mr. E getting hit by that axe. This is the real struggle. How do you get back onto stage against Belmont? You do not. YoseFu with another beautifully down-angled back end.
You know, there is something to be said about the plethora of projectiles building up this war of attrition. And Mr. E is going to have to find it in himself to take the long way to victory if it's going to be this style of play. Belmont doesn't really have the tools to box and only just barely has the tools to be able to escape pressure. So it's going to be on Mr. E to really elicit these charge-ins and make the hits that he finds successful.
Mr. E setting up that edge guard with the forward go, not able to track YoseFu as they opt to go down low. Drag down nail to be able to bait an option. I think that was really, really smart from YoseFu. Was not going to find a follow-up. I'm not sure if that move has that knockback or if it scales. Some multi-hits in this game are a little bit funky, and they're consistently not programmed quite to be the same.
It's a bit of a mess sometimes.
Oh wow, what a catch, what a scoop. YoseFu able to make it back onto the stage. Mr. E not going to be landing on YoseFu's shield effectively, though. Had a really good idea of when Mr. E wanted to land and found that punish.
Dara, this is a Belmont at 174 before the kill. If YoseFu is going to be able to make these stocks last that long, Mr. E is in for a very long ride ahead of us. It was phenomenal DI, phenomenal recognition of how dangerous this matchup can be, and doing their best just to stave that pressure away. We've seen a lot of the Holy Cross and a lot of the water try to keep E at a distance, but this is where the matchup goes awry. It's the offstage play.
The good equalizing for all low twos. When you have character like Lucina, top 2, with a lot of drift, really floaty, amazing recovery, she can chase you down off stage. She can get out there, she can deny you getting back onto the stage, she can continue to pressure you and make you feel so uncomfortable out there. So Mr. E realized that. Mr. E realized, like, hey, this is where I win this matchup, and now they have a really good understanding of what they're playing for. They're going to be playing for how quickly can I hit Belmont off stage, and then how can I get that edge guard.
And I think we're starting to see a lot of that recognition in the matchup from E's play as this game 1 has gone forward, because E is staying very consistently around that plat and making use of forward air and back air to bat off stage a whole lot of damage, ending to a whole lot of death. Game 1 going handedly to Mr. E.
That's Belmont off stage. Sometimes you just can't really escape Lucina. She follows you, she tracks you, she goes down deep, she tries to cover you. When you're playing on stage, that's the thing with a lot of characters like Belmont, a lot of characters like Dr. Mario, you know, when you're constantly playing on stage with them, you're like, huh, why is this character low tier? Why are they so bad? Why are they considered to be so bad? And then as soon as you get them off stage, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, everyone's talking that good mess until you're off stage with the sortie. It's just not a fun time, especially if you're Belmont, because you have to rely on being very precise with aiming your whip in order to come back to stage. Uppercut itself is not that reliable of a recovery option, and has a very limited range of space that it's able to navigate. And even that isn't particularly safe from Lucina if Mr. E manages to position himself right. So, best case scenario for YoseFu, stay your ground. Stay on the ground as best as you can. And when that ground is Pokemon Stadium, all of a sudden...
well, YoseFu wants it, but they're just not getting it right about now. Mr. E not going to be able to find any edge guards or ledge traps that time around. Oh, it goes.
The more this battle takes place towards that metal edging of Stadium, the more disastrous this could be for YoseFu. Because it really only takes a couple of hits from E before things go completely out of control.
With Mr. E with the option coverage, YoseFu's still going to be able to throw out a shield in time. I feel like YoseFu, every single time when they feel pressured in the corner, that is almost always a roll hit. I would like to see Mr. E capitalize on that, if they can. because that does seem like something that is bound to be exploitable.
Yeah, like I was alluding to earlier, Belmont doesn't really have a lot of options to move out of pressure, and that's just rough. Mr. E occupying the ledge at the same time that the whip's trying to come in,
Yep.
and YoseFu just barely too far to be able to linger around, not able to return to stage because of it. Luckily for them, they managed to find their mark with their projectiles and bring us to an even game state.
Yeah, but Mr. Lee finding that falling back hill, tries to go through the tech chase onto the platform, not going to be able to find another back hill, but that's a good 20% onto the board. YoseFu has not been able to find too many big hits, but a lot of really good call-outs on the way that Mr. Lee has been jumping.
Trying to keep a slower pace and just stay grounded with their pressure is best case scenario for YoseFu as well. Although rolling backwards into the capitalized holy water, bit of a rough break there. Trying to stay on top of Lucina is a very daring task for anyone in the cast, let alone a character that doesn't really have reliable ends.
Well, Mr. Lee really trying to find that button on stage again, but YoseFu just drifting and scooting around a lot of these hitboxes so effectively, being so careful with it, able to get the holy water that actually sinks past the ledge. So usually there's like 3 big like spacings for it. There's one that like hits just under the ledge and neutral getup. There is the one that just hits neutral getup, and then there's the one that sinks downwards and is really good at 2 flaming opponents. And so YoseFu was just able to mix up his holy water spacing there.
Doing their best to extend this lead is going to be hard doing, I feel, because when Mr. E gets cornered, he's just going to start swinging, and just like that, responding to that pressured roll, and back air is going to be able to do it. E already on the hunt, pressing forward. I feel like the presence of the platforms on Stadium is going to be a bit of a breath of relief for Simon, because the pressure hasn't really slowed down, even though YoseFu is able to get hit while retreating, throwing out holy water, constantly trying to trade as Lucina advances on you. It's not the worst of situations. Ooh!
That's the big
no-no.
no-no.
I think that might have been the DI mix-up too, because after seeing that spark on the kill screen, that was straight up.
Yeah. Well, also Belmont up smash is pretty strong, but I feel like it's if you're on ledge against Belmont, one of the biggest like checks is, are they gonna goal? Do they know not to goal? Because if you're rolling in, holy water hits you at that just right little sweet spot, especially if timed like that, to the point where you basically a sitting duck. You can try your best to SDI out of it. Good luck if your fingers can move that quickly, but rolling in is a really dangerous place to be in. I understand Mr. E's willingness to try to maybe mix up his timing, right? Like, instead of like maybe holding on to the ledge, trying to neutral get up past holy water, he tries to just immediately roll in, maybe get there before YoseFu is able to throw it out. Not able to find it. And as a result, they just kind of end up blowing up for it.
Moving forward, I'm very curious to see what the stage count is going to be, because I feel like the way that YoseFu is playing out this match, a lot of Lucina's stronger stages are actually going to fit more to this aggressive style of zoning, because we're seeing a ton of holy water. And as you've brought it up, it pays heavy dividends for Simon if it manages to find its connection. But even this heavy reliance on it typically gathers more stage control the more platforms we see. So I feel like even stages to Battlefield or Town and City that are typically very strong Lucina stages are going to be dangerous. The pick into FD, I think, because of that, is a brilliant adaptation from E. Because now all he has to worry about is pressing his opponent off stage. That's all there is to go.
Tries to find that F, so slightly misspacing it. Now Mr. E doing what he does best, and that is juggling and keeping opponents in disadvantage. 74, 79, 84, and climbing and catching YoseFu, either dropping down from the ledge or hanging on the ledge a little bit too long. Was not able to see what option that was, but wow. Mr. E is looking unstoppable right now.
Yeah, this is a potentially gutsy pick from E, because like Belmont ledge carding on this stage is not to be slept on. There really is nowhere to go beyond that ledge. So if YoseFu manages to find like safe footing, like coming back from this deficit isn't going to be that big of a deal for him. But likewise, the juggle potential of Lucina.
Mr. E keeps on drifting in and air dodging. That is 3 consecutive double jump ins and then neutral air dodge to land. And YoseFu covers behind Mr. E, covers in the middle, and then waits. he keeps on consistently waiting for Mr. E to air dodge in and has been punishing him with up B. So as a result, Mr. E, despite the fact that he was the first one to be able to take that stock, YoseFu put on a lot of damage just because Mr. E kept going in.
You know what's funny too is that YoseFu only really lost that stock because he opted to go aggressive and go for a grab, which managed to get whiffed and punished promptly. But during the actual zoning, did you see how much space YoseFu was able to cover? Like a full dash backwards from the ledge, and that's a lot of space, but unfortunately, that's an SD that's going to give Mr. E plenty of leverage that he really didn't need gifted to him.
Well, Mr. E gonna be getting too framed by that axe, or maybe just catching him in the apex. Either way.
Woo!
Interesting.
Forward tilt's just at the tip. All right. Plenty of pressure bringing us back to almost even. YoseFu's got plenty of work ahead of him, but at least showing that Belmont can work off the stage just as well as Mr. E is planning to with Lucina.
I feel like Mr. E, just as a character, fundamentally Lucina, that is a character that can still mix up with the landing just because of how good and how floaty they are, how much drift they have. Belmont airspeed is one of the worst in the game. If he's jumping, he's gonna maybe come down the same exact way that he started it. So YoseFu is just struggling to be able to actually land while Mr. E is finding a lot of those landing mix-ups.
I feel like YoseFu's got to be a lot more careful with the ledge here because these little bits and pieces of damage that he is finding is really just from them swinging out of disadvantage. And all the same, he has to be more careful at the ledge too. Time and time again, YoseFu have been showcasing that with competent control of the ledge, it's so difficult for even the swiftest of characters to try and bring themselves back. But diving deep off the end, 2-1 count from Mr. E. And YoseFu put in a position where you got to figure out, where are you going to stop this thing?
That's Belmont off stage. Once again, that's Belmont off stage.
It really is.
That's Lucina following you off stage. She has all the speed, all the floatiness she needs, once again, to look at you in the eyes, just be like, yep, you can't press a button here. You have to make it back onto the stage. Me, I have my double jump. I have my up B. I can drift back on. You can't reversal me from this position. Mr. Lee did an excellent job.
I mean, for a Belmont player, this is worst case scenario as far as you have a Lucina, a character that is very much willing to edge guard you to like the Earth's end, under the piloting of a player who very much is willing to be able to play out that deep off stage and be confident with their buttons and their ability to return. And regardless of how consistent your zoning is, it doesn't really shake them. With game
just
4
opening
bringing
up
us
this
to small
game
battlefield.
number. Wow. This game number 4 is already opening up with YoseFu getting a couple of consecutive holy waters and a good amount of damage. Mr. Lee trying to find that jump in, but again, YoseFu, every time we see that cross with holy water come out, Mr. Lee jumps, neutral air dodges, and gets hit by up B.
Woo! One jump too many, though. Down air into up B going to be giving us an early lead for YoseFu. And hopefully for their sake, they can get off the ledge and try to make something of that lead.
Ooh, fighting their way back on with the down tilt. That's going to put them into position to be able to get that holy water with Mr. E. Either YoseFu slightly misspacing the falling up air, or Mr. E actually SDIing out just a little bit. Not going to be getting hit by that quite yet. Falling up air, again, with everybody's falling up air in Ultimate, people can get massive follow-ups off of it.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we've already seen, Dara, is that the pick into small battlefield is going to lead us to a much more aggressive game for both of these characters. There's just a lot of opportunities to fish out of the sky and make one counter hit mean a lot. There's not a lot of safe space to really navigate away, and even with Lucina's speed, a lot of this space is very actively covered by Belmont's kit. Between the Holy Water, the Cross, and even Axe being very active in being able to deny landing space for Lucina. Once YoseFu gets control of the stage, as we had previously seen, it's a good amount of damage.
Well, Mr. Lee tries to go for the edge guard, but dips a little bit too deep. Oh, no, indeed. Mr. Lee going to be SDing that stock. That's tough.
It's a lucky break for YoseFu because that's a full 2-stock lead that they have over him. And that's a lot of potential to be able to rack up extra damage. But we're not going to be seeing it off of that stock. No, man, that's going to be cross-punished on shields and immediate punish from A.
YoseFu trying to find that F-tilt, trying to find a way to get Mr. Lee back into the corner to get him back off stage, but Mr. Lee is just not finding a way to be able to land into YoseFu quite yet. Does not find the follow-up from the grab. Gotta say, Mr. Lee definitely looks like he's swinging a little bit.
And to be fair, like, swinging through the danger has been what's led Mr. E to play so confidently through the set thus far. Lucina's buttons are really good for doing it. But YoseFu is looking really comfortable with the rhythm of which that Mystery is pressing his buttons, and because of that is why we're seeing such competent counterplay here. Look at this, 113 on last stock. YoseFu not really pressured out of this very consistent zoning rhythm that we're in.
Yeah, YoseFu is just able to put out so many different buttons. At that time, Mr. Lee, though, does jump to safety instead of going in. Tries to go find that edge guard. Is not going to be able to get it. No punish on the get-up attack from the ledge quite yet. Ooh, this could be tough. Yep, that's the goal.
Up B off the Holy Water. We're going to game 5.
Almost every single goal for Mr. Lee has been punished. Like, almost everything. Like, every single time that we do see that position where there's an axe and a holy water active simultaneously, Mr. Lee always thinks that, hey, maybe I have enough time to be able to goal right into them. Nope. Down B is covering that every single time. As Mr. Lee, you got to drop down and regrab if you see that axe coming your way. If there is no axe, you got to try to time your neutral get-ups, try to time your jumps. Because no other option actually, you know, no other option is able to maneuver around holy water like that.
And game 5 is going to be bringing us to Smashville, so another small stage to scuffle in, and one we've already seen these players duke it out on. Dara, how do you feel about Smashville being the pick as we lead ourselves into a position where it seems like a lot of ease options out of disadvantage are very lock and key for YoseFu to react to?
I think that this stage choice really goes down to a simple concept in that small stage go brr, because a lot of what Mr. E is trying to do is full hop, jump in, and YoseFu is dashing back, catching a lot of these approaches and punishing them. On a stage like Smashville, the space that Mr. E has to jump in from, a whole lot smaller, and YoseFu is not going to do a whole lot more running away. So I think this is an excellent stage choice for Mr. Lee.
All right, well, we have to just wait and see to see how things end out because we've opened up game 5 rather, with very impressive defenses, which I think is a big difference from game 1. Game 1, it was E just rushing down consistently, and YoseFu trying to find the mark with projectiles. I think given the adaptation with this set, YoseFu is going to be a lot more comfortable with where to use the projectiles and recognizing when are those safe spots to put out Holy Water. When's the right time to throw Holy Cross aggressively or throw it behind you and wait for it as a reaction?
Ooh, Mr. Lee going to be able to find that grab out of the shield, keeping YoseFu locked into the corner, and again, there it is. The goal from ledge into another goal back to center stage. Mr. E needs to be able to recognize that because that could be a setup for just a huge punish inbound. YoseFu has been doing this consistently off the ledge.
And only the little bit of Dolphin Flush reacting to the jump up there. I feel like if E is going to be trying to play off of reaction, he needs to go big with these hits. Playing the War of Attrition is playing right into the hands of Belmont. And even if for a little bit, we see how YoseFu is able to make it back with the damage differential. 150 clocked in, and still yet, it's going to be the dead stock there.
Yeah, no, the back hit of neutral is going to be able to take that one out. Ooh, Holy Water just hitting Mr. Lee's shield. Usually whenever Holy Water hits your shield, you got to recognize, hey, this doesn't activate on shield. This is going to bounce back up. Just gotta follow the angle of it, and then you'll be able to position yourself around it. It really catches a lot of people that do default to like a lot of really quick out of shield options. Mr. E tracking YoseFu all the way down, but that low recovery was so safe, and YoseFu finds his way back on.
Yeah, it was a cute strength from E, nonetheless. Figuring ways across the stage and being able to pressure Belmont is what's going to really make this stage pick shine. That all being said, though, trying to confirm the ledge guard is going to be a bit tricky. Not completely out of the woods yet is E. And not going to be out of the woods at all on this one. YoseFu going to find the mark.
Yeah, it's all about timing those get-up options. It's about recognizing, hey, does he have enough time to be able to press Holy Water in this position? Can I get up and shield that? Can I get up and press another defensive option? Mr. Lee right now struggling to find his way to get back onto the stage, jumping in.
Dara, look at the damage. Look at how much has been racked up off of one interaction. He has not left the ledge yet and almost dying for it.
E keeps jumping in and holding forward. He is jumping in, just trying to really hold forward into Belmont, and YoseFu, dash back F tilt, dash back F tilt, dash back up B. Every single time from YoseFu. Look at that. Again, parrying that option. Mr. E can't keep landing aggressively because every time that they're holding in, they're just getting punished for it.
And it's going to put Mr. E on potential winner side stock right now as YoseFu one away from taking the 3-2. This is our first Game 5 we've seen in top 128, but pressure off stage is going to make it a tense one as we're now on less stock for both players.
Ooh, able to find that down throw, finds the back heel. Mr. Lee putting on this damage, but that up-angled forward from disadvantage is going to be able to catch Mr. Lee's next option. That was such a good choice.
This kind of high-tension situation is the real make-or-break for characters of this style. For Belmont, you have to take your breath of relief.
That's the punish on the goal in.
Get your concentration, and you just need to be able to hold your ground. And then for E, you need to just press forward, find your hits, and really make them count. Because right now, we're looking at a practically even game, regardless of these percentages. YoseFu finding any bits of stage control and reacting appropriately to E can very well bring this to a game in their favor.
Mr. E is really capitalizing on that huge thing that we mentioned a little bit earlier. YoseFu, though, no double jump off stage, ends up getting swatted away. Lucina just sort of like fans and swats at you, and Mr. E finds that edge guard. So really, really good stuff to him, being able to close that one out. I want to say there were a couple of key interactions in that last stock that Mr. E finally capitalized on. Through the whole set, through games 1 through 5, up until that last stock, YoseFu was getting away with either neutral get up roll in, or goal from ledge, and then another goal in. This is the first time that I've seen Mr. Lee actually be able to punish him. We see the attempts to go through back air. We saw the attempt to go through an F smash as well in that position. That was exactly what Mr. Lee needed to get in those couple of hits. And just because Mr. Lee found those few hits, he was then able to set up those edge guards. He was then able to find that stock. So I think for Mr. Lee, that was the critical adaptation that won him that game and set.
It took a lot of time to adapt into that opportunity, but it was a well-earned victory. Like I brought it up in the beginning for the pregame. It's that war of attrition. That's what Belmont brings to the table. And it's a character that has that reputation of only really being able to effectively zone. But when they can zone, they're doing it well.
Yeah, so let's just get a couple of quick little replays, some of the Red Bull replays onto the last couple of stocks. YoseFu, again, he's so effective as a player in being able to mix up those holy water spacings, some of the ones that sink downwards, some of the ones that, cover just neutral, get up. YoseFu just has such a good understanding of how to follow up and cover each option subsequently.
Really good. We got a chance to see that. The down air into up B, one of the signature things that the Belmonts are able to lead. And look, it's just the reaction to how E is so persistent in hunting in, but not finding the mark with the back air is what led to the scramble ending out in YoseFu's favor.
But yeah, with that being said, that does mean YoseFu going to be dropping to loser, because I believe Mr. E is going to be advancing on to top 16. Coming up on stream, let's get a quick little check